Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. Delighted to be here with JJ and Eric with their movie Date Nite. Let's take a look at the clip.
So, if you're one of the 100 million Americans who don't want to feel alone, then Procreative's in vitro method is the most trusted option on the market. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay.
Gentlemen, really good to have you here. I'm glad that we are live from LA to Brooklyn right here. It's very exciting. We love your film at New Filmmakers. I'm literally begging for more. This world you took us in. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Yeah, so Date Nite is a dystopian rom-com. It's set in a world where it's dangerous to love, and it follows one very lonely man's journey, his journey for love. And so, yeah, it's a satire of the state of the world today, particularly because of the pandemic, but also just a satire on the state of love today.
I mean, a sad state, not too far from the truth, it feels like, actually, JJ, as sad as it was to experience and watch it. We're joined by Eric as well. Listen, Eric, how did you get involved in this masterpiece project? How did it all come about?
Oh, it was a masterpiece from the start when JJ had the idea. No, it was, very organically originated. I think actually the nugget it all stemmed from was the leg. And no spoilers, but a sort of one totally surreal moment, and then how do you build a grounded story around that? So we're playing with that, and we coincidentally just finished shooting it before the pandemic hit. So it actually took on some new meaning once we were in the swing of the past year. But it was a relatively smooth writing process, and then JJ took it from there.
Well, I mean, listen, I know you kind of mentioned this in the synopsis, but I really felt that, we, especially in this world of isolation, that, people are feeling very lonely. You may not have actually thought about that maybe initially when you made it, knowing this was all coming through. But a great satire experience, and I love the world. So even though this was kind of pre the pandemic experience, where did the inspiration come for you, in actually turning this into a film? What was that kind of moment where it's like, we got to make this?
Well, I mean, you're talking about loneliness in the pandemic, and of course that, the feelings of loneliness are totally exacerbated right now. But I think, those feelings of loneliness, they're universal. And certainly before the pandemic, I was, feeling lonely, the times where, wanted to explore these feelings. And so now they've taken on a new meaning, as Eric said. But, the feelings that we were investigating and kind of trying to, have some fun with, they're just these universal feelings that I certainly felt before. And so the impetus of the movie in some way was a heartbreak, like a lot of great art, or, not that this is a piece of art, but yeah. So just kind of feeling really sad and heartbroken and saying, man, I don't want to love ever again. What would it look like? What would a world look like if no one loved?
Mm-hmm.
So playing with that idea and kind of, we just built this satire, this kind of absurd comedy, taking that to the extreme, where of course the protagonist in this case, in the story, he can't live with this isolation and loneliness. So he has to kind of do his thing and risk serious injury and grotesque deformation. But yeah, as Eric said before, also the first impetus was, losing a leg. So this feeling of you're getting ready for a date, you're nervous, you're putting on your clothes, you're making sure your hair is all good. You're about to meet someone for the first time, trying to make a really good first impression. And holy crap, you look down and your leg is gone. So that just was a really funny scenario to us. Mm-hmm. And from there, we kind of, we made a much broader, or we made a much more expansive world.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The world, like you created a world. This, and goodness me, that the office scene, the production design was so great. Like I was like this horrible atmosphere, almost, it was like deafening to be in, but brilliant. And I always love when a short film leaves you in a place where, no, you need to give me more of this. I want more of it. It was great. How did you go about kind of like creating the whole production? Because it really was a world you took us in, and it was brilliant.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much for your kind words there. Yeah, I mean, I think part of one of the main goals for this movie was to, really put someone in this world. And so, yeah, just so in that, a lot of that kind of centered around the cinematography and the production design. And thankfully, we worked with really good people, incredibly talented cinematographer, David Bolin, who's just, out of this world talented. And yeah, so I mean, and then we're using references. Like I think for the office scene, one of the references, for example, would be like, okay, the office and the Fight Club, and kind of the scene and how that looks, and kind of applying this like really monochromatic, this really kind of depressing vibe, but setting it in a but making this be a comedy. I really like the idea of having this really, really, really specific aesthetic that like often wouldn't be. The aesthetic that you have in a comedy. And so for me, that was kind of an interesting, something very interesting to explore.
Well, listen, I mean, to take on, as we know, comedy is, it takes a certain kind of actor to really resonate, especially with like satire comedy as well. And it was so brilliantly executed. You need to talk about your amazing ensemble cast, because my God, I was like, wow, like goodness me. So tell us a little bit about that journey, because I was like, this is amazing. You've got the brilliant cast here.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of luck to get them, but yeah, Josh and Lauren, they're just incredibly talented individuals as well, as was everyone, as was Larry, as is everyone in the movie. And so it's just like, we write this script, and it was obviously like, we have it, but then to see how these actors can elevate the script to such a degree was one of the main joys of doing this project, and to work with them on set, and just to see how good they are, and how like just how professional, like these guys are the pros. Like there's a reason why, like there's a reason why this is what they do, and so they really helped to fully elevate this material in a way that was it makes us look really good, but really it's a lot of it's just their shared talent.
Well, yeah, a lot of good people, including both of yourselves. So what can we do? Eric, from your perspective, like what was kind of the biggest challenge that you kind of faced going into this project?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of that constant struggle, especially in comedy tilting genre, right? To have it feel truthful and realistic while still, earning those laughs. And so for something like this, it's not like horror rom-com is exactly a label people know what that means when you spit it out. So it was trying to find that like very happy balance of showing genuine sadness and loneliness, but refracted through this sort of, vaguely apocalyptic, but also just granularly of the time world for our character to search for love in, and just all the ways, very naturalistic and yet absurdist nightmares can ensue. So we just try to home in on, what is the most visual way we can depict just, the horror show that is a first date for so many of us so often, fate of the world aside, right?
Yeah, and under extreme circumstances, obviously in this particular context. But there is some really especially given what we've been through in the past year, there's really a great morality to what you've created, from, like you just said, Eric, the first date experience, and also the essence of feeling lonely, and also appreciating if you have a partner, the partner that you're with, and all of those things. And just makes me curious, that aside from obviously entertaining the hell out of us, which you did, what did you kind of want your audience to take from your film?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's about, the challenge of, like what is true love? And so often we love the idea of being in love with someone without quite getting to the bottom of who that person in front of us really is. And I think these are two characters who are so caught up in their own desperation and desire for that experience that they're losing sight of the very real people across the table. And of course, right, in movie world, that's when the table gets flipped. And so that was the fun we got to play with, I think.
I mean, there's a lot of sort of dreamlike aspects to this as well. I love their date. It's just, it's really great to watch and everything else. And I'm just curious with some of the kind of sequences you had to kind of create in the locations, like what was kind of the toughest, challenges? Because you obviously were interior and exterior. So how was that experience? JJ, was it a breeze or was it all just plain sailing? What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, producing, the short film when you have limited budget, obviously, is like, but you're trying to maintain such a high, bar as far as aesthetic and production design is definitely like a really big challenge. Like you mentioned the date, I mean, and a lot of it requires quite a lot of creativity to make sure that you're getting the look, but you're also able to afford on a very meager budget the locations and everything you need. So like the location where they're doing the date, his apartment was actually our apartment. You know what I mean? So it was exciting to just be able to have use this space and design it the way we wanted to film there. And actually the hardest thing to find was like the lobby where they're queuing up for the elevator. So it's just kind of random the difficulty, but that was a huge headache for several weeks. Like, how can we, on a really small budget, how can we get like an office building lobby? So it's just figuring out, I think, when you're producing on this level, on this scale, what do you have? How can you leverage what you have, and who just ask for favors to kind of to get it done. And that's kind of what we had to do. And it's kind of like a puzzle, but when it's done, in the process it's very stressful, but once you get it, it feels good.
I was gonna say also too, one of the things that was fascinating to me, in this film is the fact that, again, it took us into a world that I wanted more of. And sometimes in short films it can be something that we could explore more of that world or more of those characters or more of that idea or that theme. Is that something that you are looking to explore? Because I want it, and I think our audience did yesterday too. So is there more for this story?
Well, thank you for wanting more. Yeah, I mean, we're currently in the works on building this out, working on the feature versions, where more expansive world, more developed characters, and just kind of using this as the inspiration, the impetus for something larger.
Excellent. Well, obviously you got a little dream team going on and working together. So I hope that you both continue to work together on this and other projects. But what is next for you, Eric? What's next on the horizon for you?
Yeah, I mean, a couple projects in development, but at the end of the day, it's trying to figure out how can you be creating things that matter with people you love to work with. And so, working with JJ was just a pleasant experience from day one. So we definitely intend to do that again. And, I think, right, there are production challenges for small scale budgets right now with just the state of the world. So, I think while being mindful and practical, it's, how can we get some fun art out there? It's one day at a time these days, but worth the struggle.
Absolutely. And for you, JJ, you kind of navigating through this particular time too, or have you got other things that you're working on as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely been a good year for writing.
Yeah.
That said, I really would love to, be on set making something. But yeah, I mean, the state of the world currently, it's not conducive on the scale that I want to work on to make anything. So I think, using this as an opportunity to really focus on the writing, really get a bunch of scripts dialed in, and when the time is right, hopefully, be on set and be able to make something again.
Amazing. Well, thank you for bringing Date Nite to us, but I just want to close on something, and I'm glad you've had a good year of writing and utilizing your time there, JJ, in this particular time. But I wanted to know if there's, for any of our filmmakers that are watching, is there any piece of advice that maybe you could share that you kind of go by, that you could kind of share with us, both of you?
Well, I feel like in one way I'm like the last person that should be giving advice, because I feel like, I have such a long way to go. But I would just say, like, if you want to make movies, you have to make movies, and that's something that we've done, and that's just been the best thing that we can do, and it's something that I want to keep doing. So if you want to do it, just do it.
There we go. There we go. No, thank you very much for that. Anything else to add there, Eric?
Yeah, worst enemy is a blank page. That's about it.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Fill in that blank page and just do it, everybody. Just get out there and get inspired. But no, listen, thanks so much for bringing your film, and I'm really looking forward to seeing both of your developments. And I'm looking forward to seeing Date Night being developed because I'm asking for it right here. Just please, it was great. But thank you both for joining us today and bringing your film to New Filmmakers LA.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.